Hello, Conscious Collective. My name is Robin. I'm speaking with you from Santa Monica, California. I just want to say how grateful I am to be a part of this collective, inspiring one another from afar, sharing tips, sharing our stories, and also amplifying our intention for what it is that we wish to do in this wonderful world. So thank you, Deirdre, and thank you all those who've already posted videos and our conference calls. It's really helpful and I'm grateful. I have decided to do a little talk on organization, and the context, what I mean by organization here, is a way of managing our workflow, managing the projects that we're involved with, the new ideas that are coming to us, and basically all the stuff going on in our lives that when managed feels great, and when not managed sometimes can cause a bit of anxiety and stress. So I'm very interested in increasing my capacity to take on board more work and more projects that inspire me, whilst consistently lessening my effort. And what I mean by that is basically being more effective, more intuitive on the decisions I act upon, and basically on a day-to-day basis feeling in the flow, like I know what I'm doing towards my goals, that my goals are in alignment with my personal values, with my priorities, so that I know when to say yes, so that I know when to say no, and also so that I'm present and available, because it's so much more fun life when you feel in the flow and opportunities present themselves and and synchronicities occur. So I will try to keep this short and to the point. I'll also it'll be practical hopefully, so I'll involve some tips on computers and things. One line that stood out to me when I was doing the research for this video is, are we being appropriately engaged with what we're doing? And this has taken on a couple of meanings for me. First of all, from an economy of effort point of view. Are we focusing on one thing, but our minds are trying to think of all sorts of other things too that essentially could be taken care of at a later date, that we needn't burden our mind with too much activity. Another aspect of it, are we appropriately engaged with our lives, i.e. the tasks that we're setting ourselves to do, the lists that we're creating, are they truly in alignment with who we are and who we want to be in this world, and what we really want to achieve and what really is important to us, not just work but family and our priorities too. One of the inspirations for me for organization over the last few years is the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. And this has been really powerful for me the last few years, because I've been getting busier and busier and working lots, which has kind of felt good because I'm like, yeah, I'm working, I'm doing it. But this really allowed me to take a step back and begin with the end of the mind. One of the exercises in the book is to imagine yourself at your own funeral. So imagining the types of things people are saying about you and what encapsulated you. So to really take a moment to know who we want to be. So once you've taken that time to go within and discover really what you're about and what your end game is, so to speak, then it's time to put first things first and essentially organize and execute around your priorities. One really useful tool for this I found to help me on a day-to-day basis is to write your own personal mission statement. What are you about? What is it that you are really here to do, not just on a physical level, but what you're about in total? And that mission statement can then help you from a day-to-day basis deciding on what projects to pick up, on how you carry yourself, how you interact with people, and overall it really, I find, feeds what you're doing and has an impact on everything you do. There's another tool in the 7 Habits book that is really beneficial, I find. It's called the 4 quadrants, and it's focusing on highlighting on your day-to-day basis all those things that seem urgent or that are urgent but seem important, when actually when you take a step back, they're not always that important and actually detract from the things that you really should be doing to move forward towards your goals. So I'm going to briefly show you that right now. Okay, so here are the 4 quadrants. Starting in the top left, we have important and urgent. So these are the things that are most likely taking up the majority of our time and energy on a day-to-day basis. Over here on the top right, we have important but not urgent. So these are a lot of the things that we're discussing here in the Conscious Collective of our long-term goals, our values, and that healthy work-life balance, and really the things that nourish us. Sometimes this quadrant gets put to the sidelines because these things over here seem so important. Down here we've got not important but urgent. These are some of the things we need to start saying no to where possible and try to minimize these types of interruptions using our intuition. Down here in the bottom right, we've got not important and not urgent. So this is the danger zone in terms of procrastination, things like that. So the idea is to really try to plan and strategize to get up here into this top right quadrant, the important but not urgent. These are the things that in the long run will serve our long-term goals and really result in our success in working in the areas that we love and living the life that we really want to live. A great book for helping me get organized is called Getting Things Done by David Allen. And in that book he talks a lot about something called open loops, which basically is anything that's occupying our mind. It could be a new idea that we've had, it could be something that we need to remember to do on the day, and his methodology is basically getting everything out of our mind so that we can have what he calls a mind like water, so that during the day we're fluid, we can react accordingly to what's going on. Another analogy he equates it to is like RAM on a computer. Our minds can only have capacity for so much. Obviously, it's infinite, the capacity, but if we're constantly thinking of things or overthinking or trying to remember stuff or trying to patch things up or do all that on our minds on a regular basis, then it's very difficult to put our attention on what we're doing in that current moment, and it takes us further and further away from that being in the now, as we know. So I am going to briefly take you through his steps of ways to capture ideas, get it on paper, and then figure out what to do with it. Okay, so the first step with this workflow is the collection process. And what that means is collecting all of those open loops, basically anything going on in your mind, big or small, things you'd like to accomplish, from the tiniest things to the biggest things. It's basically getting it all out. Writing it down on paper is good. If it's on a computer, you could put an inbox on your computer to start tidying that up too. So you've got all of this stuff in. The next step is to go through it all, basically, and you can do this quite quickly. We're not in the process of taking action right now. We're in the process of delegating what it is we need to do with it. So what is it? First things first. Is it actionable? If it's not, if it's something that you're not going to act on straight away, then you can incubate it. So you can put this into someday maybe files and lists. The one that I quite like that he does is called the tickler file. So these are things that you might like to do one day, but it's not on the agenda right now, but it's still something that is on your mind to some degree. So incubate things. If it is something that isn't actionable, but it's reference, then you're going to have these the reference material, so things that you might need at a future date. So nice and out of the way. And of course, if it's something that you don't need, eliminate it. It's trash. Get rid of it. Okay. Is it actionable? Yes. Okay, so we're trying to get to this, what's the next action? He describes anything that has more than one action is a project. So we're going to list all of those projects here. Here you can do brainstorming, you can decipher what the next action is from there too, and this is a good way to keep reviewing these informations on this projects board. It's sort of like a pinpoint, a reminder of the things you're working on. Again, they're out of your head, and the idea is, no matter how big or small the project is, what's the next action? And this is a little gem here. What's the next action? Do it. If it's less than 2 minutes, literally do it. I found myself sometimes writing down things to do over and over again, and honestly they would have only taken 2 minutes, and I wrote them down more times than necessary and probably spent more time writing it down than actually doing it. So this is a really good habit to get into. If it's less than 2 minutes, do it. If it's not, if it's slightly longer, can you delegate it? Is it something that you can pass on to somebody else? If so, it's good to have a waiting for list, i.e. once you've passed something on to somebody, don't keep writing it on your to-do lists to keep in touch with that project. If you're waiting for someone to get back to you, then have that on a waiting for list. You're not going to forget about it because you're going to review this list regularly anyway. And the final thing is, if it's time to do it, okay, defer it. You've got your calendar here, so for anything that's calendar specific, day specific, time specific, get it on your calendar. And the next thing is, rather than daily to-do lists, you just have one or several next actions lists. So this is where it's at, this is what I review daily, what next action can I be taking basically. Okay, so I hope this was useful, I hope some of the information in this video was useful. I look forward to staying in contact, and we'll speak soon. Alright, bye bye.